On December 21st, 1917, Chechnya declared independence from Russia and formed a single state.
ملك الناس إله الناس من شر الوسواس الخناس الذي يوسوس في صدور
The First Chechnyan War took place over a 2-year period that lasted from 1994 to 1996. Russian forces attempted to regain control over Chechnya, which had declared independence in November of 1991. The Second Chechnyan War began on August 7, 1999, during which the Islamic International Brigade began an unsuccessful insertion into the neighboring Russian Republic of Dagestan.
الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس من الجنة والناس.
The workshop helps to identify obstacles in conflict resolution and propose strategies to overcome such barriers. Roles are chosen out of the key players in the Chechnya situation to act out possible solutions and ceasefires. All obstacles are determined as the roles are played. I had no knowledge of the Chechnya conflict going into the workshop. After reviewing the news footage of the Chechnya conflict, I had come to the conclusion that the new Chechnya is either a bustling success at diplomacy or the product of extensive government propaganda, or both. I was impressed by the way Russia dealt with the situation, although Chechnya may continue to push for total independence, and even with a scare of terrorism, I find the Chechnya conflict to have been successfully resolved, and with the solution of a Muslim state within a state. The workshop was conducted without knowing the end result of the Chechnya situation. It was very enlightening in finding out the possible problems and possible solutions to the situation. For successful negotiations, you need to stay neutral on the issue, should avoid taking sides on any particular situation, and try to find out how each party feels towards a reconciliation. Should acknowledge that the problems that are going on, and acknowledge them in a way that remains neutral, avoiding any sarcasm or judgment for either side to the conflict. You should focus on the problem at hand and not the people. Oftentimes these situations involve negative aspects on the quality of a certain type of people, that these people are just too much for our society, that somehow they're flawed. And so you really need to look at the problem that is causing those opinions to rise, like a shortage of water, a shortage of food. You should seek common ground, areas in which both parties can agree, and try to stick with issues such as those to build a stronger bond between the parties, and to move forward in other areas in which they might be able to agree a little more, and avoid areas that are completely negative and you know that they out and out have a dispute on it. It's either one way or the other, and they cannot agree on it at all. So you should agree on what you can agree on and avoid issues that just can't be reached in a compromise. You should be able to get them to the point where they'd be willing to compromise, find out what's important to each side, and try to negotiate some sort of peaceful agreement. Be patient, but decisive. Patience is critical. People in conflict need to tell their stories. They need to be able to vent and explain to people exactly what happened. It's important for their own closure. It's important that you acknowledge the importance of what they've been through. And you are a part of the cure for their mind to be able to accept the things that have happened to them. But you should be determined and find key areas which will resolve the problems and prevent them from happening in the future. In session 1, where the participants had an opportunity to debate the viewpoints of the people within the conflict. I found it very enlightening. There were a lot of points that other people brought up that you just may not have considered. And so it was a more thorough review of the situation. It was more than any one person could do. And so the workshop was very helpful in sorting through viewpoints and opinions. It would have been nice and an improvement to the workshop if we had more time to go through more thoroughly. I think the number of people involved gave us just too much information to cope with. And at the same time, the short amount of time that we had on the workshop itself, we couldn't even come close to completely discussing the issues. But I think the idea of how to conduct a workshop was still effective. And I look forward to being able to be involved in a real-life workshop at some point in the future.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل أعوذ برب الناس ملك الناس إله الناس من شر الوسواس الخناس الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس من الجنة والناس